Number one, and take a look at Rocco Baldelli's Twins starting lineup tonight. Not a lot of household names in there for various health reasons, and we'll talk about how the injury bug has sapped a lot of life out of the Twins 2022 season as we continue. Arias, Miranda, and Gordon. Gio Urshela, the former Yankee. Jake Cave in left. Gary Sanchez, one of the two former Yankees out there. And then the young guys, Walner, Contreras, and Palacios, round things out for Minnesota, who's back home after a 1-7 road trip, essentially sunk what little chance they may have had at a postseason
they had
chair.
that big series against the Guardians, and they struggled there in Cleveland. And that set them back quite a bit. I mean, for a team everyone expected to be in contention for the division, them and the White Sox, but it's Cleveland at the top of the Central.
It is Shohei Ohtani on the mound for the Angels tonight, making start number 26, and the subject of tonight's Kia player profile. Well, you've got to go back to the middle of June to identify when it really turned for Shohei and when he kicked it into a previously unseen gear. 16 starts, and during that time, and again, it started around June 9th, 10-4 record, a 1.70 ERA. He's been even better in his last 4 assignments. A terrific body of work all year long.
And all his pitches have been working so well. And my go-tos for Shohei Ohtani to keep this dominant stretch going here and trying to pick up his 14th W of the season is change speed with a slider. He's got 73 strikeouts with his slider. He'll go different arm angles, create different breaks on his slider, and use his sinker to be able to set up his splitter. That means that lower part of the strike zone, start low with the sinker and then get the splitter and get some chases.
You can see the light rain that's intensifying a bit, and, you know, checking the radar, it's really a crapshoot in this part of the world. We're expecting a little bit of mist/rain for the next half hour or so. Hopeful that it does not create any stops and starts, because as we talked about during the pregame show, these are important innings for Shohei to try to amass 14 more innings of work to qualify for the ERA title.
There's 162 innings, though, an inning per game played by the team.
You see Shohei kind of battling the elements here as he gets an 0-1 swing and a bouncer for Rengifo, and one gone to start his night.
That was interesting, too. Arias swung at the first pitch. He never swings at the first pitch. That tells you how he doesn't want to fall behind against Shohei.
Take a look at the halos on defense behind Ohtani tonight. In the outfield, Moniak, Trout, and Ward. We'll talk about what awaits Taylor in a tricky right field tonight. Duffy, Soto, Rengifo, and Ford in the infield. And Max Stassi back there receiving Shohei's 26th assignment of the year.
And Moniak on in left field, making his 8th start in left field this season. 1 outfield assist, no errors. Only 3 starts in left field in his career, mainly center field for Moniak.
Here's the outstanding rookie first baseman Jose Miranda, who digs in with 15 homers, 64 runs batted in, and playing a complete season, a long season for the first time in his career, as once again he is a rookie. He has cooled off a bit in September, 0 for his last 11. A 1-0 from Ohtani. 2 balls and no strikes.
Back-to-back sliders well out of the strike zone for Shohei. Going to walk behind the mound now to make that quick adjustment. Loves to throw his cutter 2-0 to get back into a count.
I think both starters are going to have to endure hit and miss conditions for the next 30 minutes. It just got to be annoying, if nothing else, when the rain stops and starts like this. 2-0 home. So yank that one. 3 balls and no strikes now.
And I always felt that as a pitcher, when there's a little bit of mist or even some rain, you always have an advantage because that rain is hitting the helmet of a hitter, so there's a little bit of a distraction. And when you have the stuff that Shohei has, that makes it even more difficult, less time to be able to react and hit a baseball.
You felt like it was harder for the hitter in the rain?
Yeah, because I'd like movement, so I figured if the baseball was a little bit wet, I was fine with that. A little better sink action.
Despite the fact that you were the guy holding the ball.
Yes.
Well, you are. You are different.
Thank you. That's about as kind as words I've ever had explained and described to me.
3 balls and a strike as it counts to Jose Miranda. And there's ball 4. Just missed with an inside fastball that time. 1 out walk, and that's the game's first base runner. Shohei's last start Saturday at home against Seattle, one of his best of the year. 7 shutout innings, scattered 3 hits, took a 2-1 win that day, struck out 8, walked only 1. And Gooby, it's one of a handful of starts with that kind of line. 7 shutout innings, 8, 9, 10 strikeouts. Put that in the category of his best offerings of the year. 1 out, 1 on now for Nick Gordon. And I guess if you're to compile a list of Shohei's best starts this year, I would start the list with what he did in Boston in early May when he had that ridiculous strike percentage. We were talking about that start before the game tonight. He threw almost 20 splitters, all of them for strikes.
Remember, he had 22 swing and misses in the strike zone, which is almost impossible to do.
Oh, and he hit him. Oh, boy. That's the wet baseball at work as Gordon gets a base the hard way, first and second now with 1 away.
And usually with Shohei Ohtani, it's all about touch and feel in the first inning. See him rubbing that baseball down to make sure he had a good grip on it. He's overthrown quite a few sliders already. And for that one, Gordon had no chance to get out of the way of that. That front shin.
So first and second with 1 gun now for the right-handed hitting third baseman Gio Urshela. Urshela was one of the Twins who put together a pretty good road trip despite their collective failures, losing 7 of 8. The ex-Yankee was 7 for 31 with 3 runs batted in on that trip. Rain getting a little heavier now as that slider misses down and away. In fact, as hardy as Minnesotans are, and they'll tell you themselves, a lot of them are headed for cover.
Urshela is a guy that will roll into a double play. 21. Shohei doesn't get a ton of ground ball double plays, but we love one here to get in that dugout.
Let the other guy pitch in the rain. 2 balls and no strikes. I mean, it's clear that the rain's bothering him here.
And you can see it even on his jersey. That jersey's even pretty wet. And what it's going to do, Matt, it's going to force him to throw a few more fastballs than normal. He's around 33% fastball usage. I think you have a better chance of a grip on a 4-seam fastball because you got the fingers on the 4 seams, so you can hold on to it a little bit longer.
It's a big deal if you're going to take the slider out of his repertoire to a right-handed batter, because he is nearly 50% slider to right-handed hitters like Urshela. Let's see what else he might offer. No, he stayed with the slider and now falls behind 3-0. So it's clear that the umpiring crew, Gooby, knows that this is a passing cell.
Yep.
The second base umpire is the crew chief. That's the home plate umpire, Hunter Wendelstadt. Dan Bellino's the crew chief. He's at second base. They've been informed by the groundskeepers here that this will blow over. Otherwise, they would have rolled it up by now. 3-0 home. And that's ball 4. The bases are loaded on a walk, a hit batsman, and now another base on balls. So this has turned into kind of a complicated inning here for Shohei, with bases loaded and 1 away. Well, here we go. No place to put Jake Cave. Left-handed hitting left fielder. Bases loaded with one gone.
It's funny when you look at his innings pitched this season, he's been really good as far as limiting walks. His strikeout to walk ratio is outstanding, nearly 6-1. But in the first innings of the game, he's about 8 walks so far this season. That's the most innings, walks per any inning he has pitched this season, already with 2 and a hit batter. Part of it has to do with the grip of the baseball for Ohtani.
Cave lines it to Rengifo, who knocks it down. They go to second base for an out there, and they turn a very unusual inning-ending double play. I'm not even going to try to talk my way through that one before we see it again.
All right. 4-6-5.
Here it is. 4 is on his rear to the shortstop covering to third, and it's scoreless after an inning. See those every day, don't you?
I would think that run would count, though.
All tied up at 1 back here at Target Field as Shohei Ohtani gets back to work on the mound. And while Aaron Judge may very well have locked up that American League MVP, it's still a great debate to have because Shohei Ohtani is overwhelmingly still part of that conversation. And I talked to some of his teammates before the game today who gave me some pretty good insight, the guys that are with him every single day. Michael Lorenzen, who was at one time a two-way player himself, told me that just because he won it last year, it kind of seems like this is the new normal. He's set a new standard. He said he felt like that happened with Mike Trout too, where he was just so good. He just said, well, we can't just keep giving him the MVP because you just don't know how long he's going to be this good for. Now, Lorenzen told me he also played with Aaron Judge back in college, so obviously he's rooting for him to break that home run record. He said he's an amazing person, but I got to go with my teammate in Shohei. And guys, Max Stassi added, I'm pretty confident in saying we'll never see this done again at this level.
Yeah, great stuff, Erica. I think we would all agree to that as well from where we sit. Gary Sanchez on the first pitch sends a ball up the third baseline. High throw, but Ford's able to come down before his old teammate gets there, and there's one away.
Long throw for Matt Duffy all the way across the diamond. He's in the foul territory when he makes that long throw, high throw, but Ford able to get the foot down just before Sanchez touches the bag. By the way, I don't know if Erica, when you talk about teammates, I mean, are they still in this complete amazement at how incredible Shohei Ohtani has been this season after what he did last year?
I think so, and I think to them the argument that he's not the American League the MVP is kind of incredulous to them. They all kind of just laugh at themselves because it's kind of the assumption that maybe people aren't paying close enough attention to what Shohei Ohtani is doing.
Yeah, you know, Erica, I would agree with that. People that aren't watching the Angels, people outside of Southern California might have tuned that out. And I also think that this is true in all major sports now. There's like, I don't know, incumbent carryover weariness, right? Fans and voters, they're like, we gave it to him last year, right? There's that mindset. As incorrect as it may be to base a vote on that, I think that's part of it. And look, it's real that Aaron Judge is about to reset a long-standing American League home run record and possibly win a Triple Crown. It's hard to get around that. That's yanked foul, and it's a ball and 2 strikes on Matt Wallner. By the way, Aaron Judge is 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts tonight, so they should give Shohei the MVP.
Yeah, Shohei's the MVP. It's the upside down, isn't it, Erica? It's upside down. Stranger things going on here again today.
Gooby, I'm so glad that you brought that up because we've been holding on to this story for quite some time. We are in the upside down watching Shohei Ohtani considering everything that he's doing, but also because he's a huge Stranger Things fan. He's been sporting a Hawkins High hoodie on some of our flights lately, which if you watch the program, you are familiar with what that means. So he's also trying to get Ipe to watch it too. He has yet to watch it. I know you and I are fans. Matty V, you a Stranger Things guy?
Am I the only guy in the world not watching this show? Seriously. I can't relate to my family anymore. Like, I've lost touch with everybody. I don't watch it. Sorry. When I'm home and you and Patty are doing the games, I'm watching Angels baseball. I'm not watching Stranger Things on some streaming service I can't find.
We're going to bring you Spinning upside down. Come on,
don't bring it to me. I'm not going to watch it. Full count to Matt Wallner. Shohei looking for his first punch out of the game. 3-2 home. Oh, that one drifted right into the strike zone that time.
I'm seeing quite a few flat sliders. He's not having that downward tilt at all. It's more horizontal, flat break to it. And you can see him, he's trying to get a better feel. He had them working on the landing spot in between innings. The grounds crew here at Target Field.
Well, the good news is that the rain has subsided and that the satellite reveals no cells in the immediate vicinity. Let's see if Shohei can put away this left-handed hitter who takes time.
See that landing spot? He has a long stride when he releases the baseball. He uses that lower half very well.
Full count pitch to the rookie, and there's a changeup that misses. Let's take you back to between innings. This is what Gooby was talking about. You always think about how the rain just affects the grip of the baseball. It also affects the surface of the mound as well.
And when you're landing, sometimes if that mound is a little bit wet, your front foot, usually you try to land on the ball of your foot, but hit your heel, it's going to slide forward. That's going to impact your elbow and where your positioning of your elbow is, especially throwing a slider. That's why you see it getting flat instead of having that position where he's on top, landing softly on there and getting his arm out in front and going over the front leg.
And right there, that was about $160 worth of Diamond Dry that they just put on the mound. That stuff is pricey. 3 scoops.
Well, they are swinging at the first pitch a lot, even for Shohei, who hasn't thrown a ton of strikes early.
Yeah, 3 walks for Ohtani through his first 7 batters today.
They are a team that doesn't run a whole lot.
Mark Contreras has already had a nice defensive start to the ball game. And there's a fastball swung through to make it 0-2.
Now, for me, 4-seam fastball, if he can try that 2-seamer right now, that sink action to it, away. Because you know he's gearing up thinking, all right, I'm going to get a split, I'm going to get a slider. You throw that little 2-seam sink action, it'll be nasty.
He sure did. Yeah, Contreras was on it to foul it away.
All right, now you have him set up. You can throw the splitter now. In that plane, you have him set up. If you can establish a fastball there, and then you throw the splitter, it starts at that same plane, you will get a swing in the dirt.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that Mark Contreras didn't see many Ohtani-style splitters in AAA this year or at the Futures game. Yeah, he threw a split and buried it.
Just not close enough to the plate to get him and go after it.
You know, we've seen Shohei start games like this before where he just kind of feels his way through his repertoire for the first 30 pitches or so and then kicks it into gear. And I think the elements have played a role into the slow start today.
Even that last start out there, he took a lot of time in between pitches before he got on a roll against Seattle.
The 1-2 to Contreras. Got him, and that was a good one that time.
That was his best tilt on a slider so far tonight. Stay within himself, didn't overthrow it, straight down. That's that arm angle where we're going to show it eventually in the game. That's where the one where you can get the slider to go straight down is when he drops his elbow down a little bit more. That's more horizontal break.
This is an interesting note that Shohei Ohtani now, as he has gone through 8 batters tonight, has faced 601 plate appearances, 601 batters as a pitcher, and he's had 614 plate appearances as a batter. The first player in Major League history to go 600 on each side of the scorecard in the same season.
When you start saying in history, that's when you put it in perspective what he's been able to accomplish this season. And he says the same thing. He's had a better year this year than he had last year when he's a unanimous MVP.
Yeah, not even the Babe Ruth stuff plays anymore, Gooby, because, you know, you can talk about what Ruth did in 1918, 1919. Shohei has gone to previously unseen places. Not even Babe Ruth has compiled the kind of numbers that he has as a pitcher and a hitter in the same season. A ball and a strike to Jermaine Palacios, and that one comes in high and tight. But Satchel Paige used to call the bow tie pitch.
It's like a little drizzle again.
We could keep going here. Here's another one. Only player ever with 30 or more homers, 10 or more wins in the same year. Nobody even went to 20-10. To the earlier point. Oh, look out. Shattered bat that kind of clipped Shohei on its way back up. It was a foul ball. Ohtani didn't see the shrapnel coming his way, and fortunately he's able to smile about it.
Looks like he might have got him too. I mean, remember earlier in the season the same thing happened. He's always the gentleman. He's cleaning up the broken bat and the pieces, helping out.
Oh yeah, it doinked him a little bit. Yeah, he knows that was a close call, too. That is a very sharp, fast-moving object. So a new shillelagh for Palacios and a 2-2 count now. A runner aboard with 2 gone, 2 balls and 2 strikes on the number 9 hitter, who is 0 for his last 24 at the plate. Suate Kudasai chased a slider, back-to-back punch-outs, and it looks like Shohei's got his wheels back on. Close call. It's all good. 13 wins, an ERA that started play tonight at 2.43 and a strikeout rate of 33%. There had only been 3 American League pitchers to ever amass those totals at season's end. 2 of them are in the Hall of Fame, in Randy Johnson and Pedro Martinez, and one of them has won a pair of Cy Young Awards in Corey Kluber. And this year, Ohtani can join that very exclusive list.
It's just amazing, though, when you look at those numbers for Shohei, but he's still swinging the bat. Those guys are not swinging the bat 5 or 6 days a week, so you might be a little more fatigued. Every part of your body fatigued swinging the bat. Historic season, Shohei.
His night will continue here in the bottom of the 3rd against the top of the order for Minnesota, Arias, Miranda, and Gordon. First pitch curveball misses low.
It's more like Arias not swinging at the first pitch. He's only about 16.4% first pitch swing. He did the first at bat, though.
And Arias swings and misses more infrequently than he swings, of course. This is a guy that just doesn't punch out. He pops out here, and there's 1 gone for Ohtani to start the 3rd. He's had an interesting year, and for a lot of the season, it looked like Luis Arias was on his way to a batting title, but he, like the rest of the Twins, has really cooled off, and that's cleared the deck for Aaron Judge in that 1 triple crown category that folks weren't feeling as confident with in Judge's quest.
When I mentioned, we talked about that even in the opening, in the pregame show too, for Aaron Judge. He's getting walked a lot, so there's not a lot of at-bats. So if he can get 1 hit, he's not going to get many other official at-bats. And why would you pitch to Aaron Judge right now if you're facing the Yankees?
That's a great question. Jose Miranda walked and scored that first inning run for the Twins. It looked like Minnesota was on the verge of more with the bases loaded and 1 away. A double play ball ended the threat, and there's a high fly ball that Soto's tracking from shortstop, and there are 2 gone. Base is empty for Nick Gordon, who was hit by the first pitch that he saw from Ohtani tonight. And if you're just helicoptering into the telecast, there's quite a bit of rain about a half an hour ago when Gordon last faced Ohtani. And we can certainly write off Shohei's first inning wildness that way.
And Gordon's a guy that swings at the first pitch a lot here too, Matty.
Ball and no strikes.
Yeah, hit batter and 2 walks in the first inning for Shohei. I mean, they're coming into the game, 36 walks total in 148 innings for Ohtani.
Fastball kind of slipped out of his hands, and it's 2 balls and no strikes to Nick Gordon. You know, you and I were talking about this before the game tonight. You look at Ohtani's most dominant starts, and a couple of those games we've already mentioned. You try to find a pattern in terms of usage. And it's really a fool's exercise because you cannot find a pattern on usage. So imagine if you're an opponent and you're trying to scout Ohtani by looking at data and videotape, and you're trying to come up with tendencies. It's impossible.
Yep. I mean, you look at the greats from, you mentioned Randy Johnson earlier. You got, you know, Greg Maddux, Pedro Martinez. They all fell into patterns. I mean, their stuff was that good. They could fall in those patterns and still get people out. Shohei has that type of stuff, yet he never doesn't fall into those patterns. That's why it makes it so unique to watch him pitch.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Just as an exercise, I pulled up some of the data on 3 of his better starts to try to find what he did with his slider against left-handed batters, guys like Nick Gordon. And the usage ranged from 20% to almost 50%. Good luck trying to figure out what you're going to get if you're a hitter. 2-2. Broken bat flare. That is a foul ball.
It was a little harder curveball he threw.
Right to our point. 2-2 curveball to a left-handed batter. Why not? I mean,
yes.
Who knows?
There you think, okay, usually he goes with 2 strikes. He likes to go to a splitter, although he hasn't thrown a high percentage of splitters this year as compared to last year. But when he gets on a roll and a feel for a splitter, it's like lights out if you're a left-handed batter.
Yeah.
You have no chance with 2 strikes.
And that's when, you know, when that feel comes, that's when the punch-outs usually come second, third time through the order. He's sitting on a pair of strikeouts so far tonight. Looking to retire his 5th consecutive twin. Another 2-2 to Gordon. Lined into center field. Trout got a good break on that, and it turns into a breezy 1-2-3 inning for Ohtani, who's right up the tunnel. 2-1 Angels. Sports is brought to you by Hyundai Epic Adventures. It's your journey on every mile in a brand new Hyundai. By Spectrum. Spectrum Mobile has unlimited talk, text, and data. Save up to 40%. Go to SpectrumMobile.com today. And by Cremily. Taste the difference that makes a difference. Try Cremily, the official frozen yogurt of Angels baseball. 2-1 Angels. In the rain. I wouldn't call it a driving rain as much as it is an annoying rain. And Shohei Ohtani meriting a little bit more grooming on the mound. Second time that they've fixed things for him, which is a good thing for the Angels.
How about you're a hitter for the Twins? You're facing a guy that his average fastball is 97.3. You throw a splitter, slider, cutter, curveball, and you might be thinking the baseball could be slippery.
Yeah, I'm bailing out.
Yes.
Ohtani has struck out 2 and allowed 1 run. It was earned in the first when he walked a pair, hit a batter, and then the Twins scored on a double play ball. Gio Urshela, Jake Cave, and Gary Sanchez in the Twins half of inning number 4. Urshela drew one of those 2 first-inning walks that constituted that early rally that Shohei pitched out of.
Shohei today faced 13 batters. Only 6 times he's thrown a first pitch strike. Unusual for Shohei.
2 balls and no strikes. Still trying to get a feel for the slider tonight, it would appear.
Yep.
And you can tell he really wants it to come. He wants to get that feeling on it. Two balls and no strikes. Ohtani yet to allow a hit in this ball game, though he has been scored upon. Another slider that's wide.
And you can see he's frustrated. He's missing by quite a bit with his slider. Although there's times when he's able to throw his different arm angles with his slider, it's been effective.
And a 4-pitch walk. Yeah, let's talk about those different slider angles.
Yeah, let's take a look at our Frontier Play Sense. When you go back to that last start where he brings that arm angle up a little bit higher, more of a vertical drop on his slider, then drops down his arm angle, and he had more horizontal, bigger sweeping break on his slider. Does it tonight again. Higher arm angle, breaking ball, that slider goes straight down, and then that little slight drop in the arm angle, that sweeping slider for a strikeout. Both results on the same pitch, but a different drop, from vertical drop to a horizontal break.
Jake Cave grounded into that inning-ending double play that scored a run in the first, though he was not credited with an RBI. Twins have their leadoff hitter aboard for the first time tonight, and that's 5 straight misses by Ohtani to start the inning.
You go back to Shohei for his most walks in a game this entire season. That was that start he had where he wasn't feeling great in Detroit, where he walked 4 in 4 innings. A different type of not feeling great because of the conditions today for Ohtani.
Boy, they missed with location that time. Stassi wanted that on the outside half. Catch a break there on a foul ball, and it's 1-1. You know, the fact that Shohei has not given up a hit tonight is noteworthy. If he's not given up a hit, he certainly hasn't given up any slug. He has done such a great job limiting opponents' slugging percentage all year long. And we have some numbers to dress that up with in a moment. 1-1. So Ohtani as a hitter is slugging .536. That's the 7th best in baseball. As a pitcher, he has limited opponents to a .336 slug. That is the 12th lowest in baseball. And if you want another kind of feather for your MVP cap, that's a good one.
Yeah,
because I'm not sure
really
what
good.
Aaron Judge is limiting opponents' slug to this year. Got him. Nasty bite. 3rd punch of the game for Ohtani.
Giving a 199 on the season for Ohtani. Arm angle, sharp drop, vertical drop on the breaking ball.
I mean, that's one of those video game pitches. No one. I mean, you just never know when that's going to show up either. 1 out, 1 on now for Gary Sanchez. The rest of the series, by the way, in terms of pitching, it's going to be left-handers on the mound for the Angels. Reed Detmers tomorrow. Jose Suarez scheduled for the finale on Sunday. And Reed saying to himself, I got a better forecast for my day tomorrow.
Yeah. Controlling his slider is very important against Gary Sanchez. He's very solid on bad breaking balls. So you have to make sure your quality one's there. And that wasn't quite exactly where he wanted to throw it. He threw him a sinker the pitch before that, though. He hasn't thrown many sinkers. He hasn't thrown hardly any splitters today. I think he's only got two, maybe 3 splitters today.
Tried to back-to-back the slider, and that one stays well outside. 2 balls and a strike. It's the inexperienced bottom of the order due up next. And Ohtani had little trouble with Contreras and Palacios first time through. 1 out, 1 on, 2-1 pitch home to Sanchez, fouled away, 3 straight sliders. So now he's got him set up in a 2-strike count. Max get clipped on that.
On the follow through, gets the mask and his bicep.
He did. That's catcher crime. That is a long finish on Gary Sanchez, and he's had that his whole career.
All right, now you got to be thinking, all right, let me try that nasty hard slider now. If I can keep it down and away, I got a good chance getting a punch out.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Oh, got him. Kia de Wanai.
Little backdoor curveball. Or indoor, I should say, curveball. Backed him up.
Sanchez doesn't like the call, but he didn't see this coming.
No, you're looking slider away, and he drops there again. What you talked about, like you just never know what Shohei's going to throw. Throws a curveball, and that's a little harder curveball than normal. He's usually around 83, 85, 200th strikeout this season for Shohei, 11th pitcher in Angels history, first since Weaver back in 2010.
He is the master of improv. You know, more from the I'm better than Babe Ruth file. The Bambino's highest strikeout year was 170, and he hit 3 homers that year. So how we doing? Ohtani struck out 200, soon to be 201, and he's hit 34 dingers.
So you're saying everyone's going to be compared to Shohei Ohtani going forward?
You know what? That's a great point. Ball and a strike to count to Matt Wallner. If he wants to be cruel, he could finish him off with 2 splitters here. He shook Stassi once, so ball and a strike to count. Oh, Peter dots it.
Sinker at 97.
Here we go. This is, I mean, it's almost like clockwork. 4th inning, 2nd time through the order. This is when the strikeout totals go nuts. This is when he finds whatever he, was looking for. We're doing U2 lyrics now.
Go back to a curveball here. Maybe backdoor.
Oh, how did he not get a swing on that? That's almost a perfect pitch.
Especially when you throw a fastball the pitch before to lower third for a strike call.
Hey, give Wallner some credit. That was a really tough take. He's shown him a little bit of everything to get the count to 2-2.
Wow, that's another pretty good breaking ball he didn't go after.
I mean, do you give in a fastball count and just throw him a fastball thinking that your heater is better than his ability to hit it? What do you think?
I would say normal human beings would, but he's not. I almost feel like he'll throw a curveball here.
Urshela will have a head start on 3-2 with 2 gone. Angels by a run, bottom of the 4th. 3-2 pitch, got him.
Did you say fastball? He's not real. He is not of this planet. He is the unicorn.
Oh my goodness!
Wow.
Somebody see if you can take a picture of him, or it'll be like Sasquatch, and it won't come out. He is unbelievable. 5 strikeouts for Ohtani. 2 in the 2nd. 3 in the 4th, and they're all worthy of a Carl's Cam replay. Ohtani threw 4, has allowed only the 1 run. And by the way, he still is not allowed a hit. Back to work in the 5th.
Still relatively decent as far as pitch count, manageable. Even though he does have 4 walks and 5 strikeouts, 62.
Yeah, he's, you know, potentially in line to get you through 6, maybe 7 tonight. I agree with you. And the returns have been a lot better the last couple of innings. Really, you get that wonky first inning out of the way, and it's been kind of vintage Ohtani. And you'll get the numbers 8, 9, and then top of the order bats for the Twins in the 5th. Contreras, Palacios, and Arraez. Since that first inning, by the way, as Shohei is not allowed to hit tonight, only 2 runners, and they came on walks, and neither one of those guys got past first base. And we do know this, Gooby, regarding the Minnesota Twins and getting on base. They're not going to run much. 31 stolen bases, the lowest total in the game. 31 for the team in 150 games.
I know some organizations don't want to take that chance of giving up an out on the bases, but if you ask any pitcher, you love when a team is a station-to-station team that's not going to run against you, because then you don't have to be quicker to the plate. You don't have to worry about throwing over to first base. You can just concentrate on the batter itself and not the running game against you. You go down with what we saw down with the Rangers. They had 120 stolen bases as a team, so you're trying to be quicker to the plate all the time.
A ball and a strike to Contreras, his strikeout victim in the 2nd. Boy, he just couldn't stay off that slider, could he? Was going to hit him in the knee.
How did he? I mean, that slider broke about 5 feet. That was like a wiffle ball.
It was honestly going to hit him. That's a wiffle ball if you know how to hold it.
Yes.
Right?
You remember that? Yes. Ooh, he did foul it off himself.
Get him, yeah.
Wow, I mean, that ball was almost going to hit him anyhow. Look how much that broke.
And they'll give Mark a little extra time after the foul ball off his leg.
He's made a couple great defensive plays out at center.
Sure has. Getting an opportunity to play in the absence of Byron Buxton, and I would imagine they'll give Contreras a good long look for the remaining week and a half of the season. Here's the 1-2 to him. By the way, just to follow up that stolen base note, you and I were wondering aloud if 31 stolen bases is a franchise futility record. It is not. The 2019 Twins, and that was a full season, they stole 28 bases. That's the lowest total for a Twins team since they moved to the Twin Cities in 1961.
Wow.
Got him.
Curveball again. He hasn't thrown a splitter hardly at all today.
4 straight strikeouts. And 7 for the game.
Was that the 19 team with the Twins where they had all the home runs that year?
That is.
Yeah.
Check the total. 6 strikeouts for Shohei tonight. Yeah, that was a lift and separate team. That was not a station-to-station lineup at all.
They were lifting the station and running home.
Here's Jermaine Palacios now. He too was a strikeout victim in his first at-bat. Well, that's kind of disappeared from the Twins lineup as well. Last year they hit 228 homers, 5th highest total in the game, and the 2nd most in franchise history behind that 2019 team. This year, 169 homers. No, he's got it working now.
He's better feel for a slider. He's got the grunt going on a slider now too.
Yeah. Ball and a strike. Bunting, not a bad idea on a night when nobody has a hit. However, he couldn't execute it. Now he's in a 2-strike count. And not a bad idea for a guy who's 0 for his last 25.
And I don't know if you noticed, but Shohei, it seemed like in the middle of his delivery, when he sees the bat go around, he was able to elevate the fastball because that makes it a more difficult pitch to bunt on the ground when you go 4-seam fastball upstairs. I mean, maybe that didn't actually happen for him, but it seemed like as soon as he saw that bat square around, he went four-seam fastball upstairs when everything else has been down.
Oh, we're going to rewind the tape and give that last pitch a look. Palacios lays off the slider, 2-2. Here's the bunt attempt.
And then he rides the fastball up.
I think you're right. I think you're right. I think he did change the location of the pitch because Palacios, he gave up the bunt pretty early.
Yep. So hard to bunt a high fastball on the grass. You're usually going to pop that up.
2-2. Got him. Oh, yeah, the slider's fine. Found it. Found it. 7 strikeouts for Ohtani.
And that's that little bit lower arm angle to create that more of that horizontal late sweeping break to it. By the way, that's 5 punchies in a row.
Okay. Well, here's a tough bat to strike out. Luis Arraez, one of the kings of contact in baseball this year. He's 0 for 2 so far tonight. I don't want to play the what if game with you, but what if? What if a no-hit bid gets real here? I mean, it's early, right? It's only the 5th. 73 pitches. That doesn't smell like 9 innings. He could get through 7 or 8.
The one thing about Shohei Ohtani, he is always honest. When Phil Nevin will talk to him and see how he's feeling, he will be completely honest with him. If he feels good enough to go a little bit deeper in the game, you might see something special. But Shohei knows his body better than anybody. I mean, that's why he's been able to perform like he's performed his last 2 seasons. And these weather conditions haven't been easy for him too, so that's why it would become more difficult to say he would have a shot at that.
That's a really good point. And there's a base hit, so we won't have to worry about that at all. First hit of the game for the Twins.
And you mentioned a contact guy. It's just so hard to make him swing and miss.
A little frustration there for Arraez that he gets out. He had really slowed his pace down. That's just a nice look at a really good hitter and a really good approach.
I mean, he stayed back on a backdoor breaking ball. After the first pitch of the at-bat was a cutter way off the inside part of the plate. Yet he was still able to track that away and punched it to left.
Here's Jose Miranda now, walked and popped out tonight. A 2-out base runner for the Twins on their first base hit of the game.
He was angry he gave up a hit. Through 99. The last game out for Ohtani, his move to first base was an A++ move. His footwork was outstanding. Now, you mentioned they don't run a lot, and he doesn't have a real big lead, but that move his last time out might get Hank Conger's attention at first base, by the way.
Well, we know that Hank's awake, and we'll show you why here, because after Arraez got to first on the base hit, he punches him in the chest. It's like, yeah, hey, wake up.
He's one of the all-time greats. You literally, when you see him and talk to him, you're immediately, he puts a smile on your face.
I'm smiling now.
Yes.
He's looking around as though he's being followed.
He knows we're going to be talking about it, that infamous bunt. He goes, please don't show that every time. I go, we won't, says no one.
Ball and 2 strikes, the count to Jose Miranda. Did they send Arraez on a 2-strike count? They do not, and it's fouled away. I feel like they want to run with him. He's the only guy in the starting lineup for Rocco Baldelli, along with Nick Gordon. Just 2 guys that have more than 1 stolen base this year.
And Shohei's just kind of standing back, looking around, seeing that conversation. You might see him have that pickoff throw now, just to show it.
He's sandbagging him?
Yes.
Okay. Ball and 2 strikes, the count to Miranda. Not a big lead for Arise. And a little routine bouncer for Soto. Goes the short way. Nothing comes of the 2-out single. A couple more punch outs for Ohtani, who continues to lead it. 2-1 Angels. Angels baseball on Valley Sports is brought to you by your Southern California Cadillac dealers. By Spectrum. Spectrum Mobile has unlimited talk, text, and data. Save up to 40%. Go to SpectrumMobile.com today. And by the Orange County Auto Show. Hundreds of the hottest new cars, trucks, EVs, and more. September 29th through October 2nd at the Anaheim Convention Center. Back with Mark Gubazon, Erica Weston, Matt Vasgersian on a night where Shohei Ohtani's star is shining brightly throughout the Twin Cities. 5 great innings tonight. He struck out 7. He's got a 2-run lead. He's back to work in the 6th and gets a swing on a first pitch curveball to Nick Gordon.
How about that curveball at 72? He's throwing his curveball at 85 tonight.
The master of improvisation, who, by the way, in comedy circles was known as the master of improv.
I thought about when you were as soon as you said that, I was thinking about that too.
Was it Rich Little, whose name came up earlier tonight?
Yes, it was.
There's a bouncer for Mike Ford. It's a foul ball. That's got to be a Googleable search. But Ohtani is doing his thing tonight, and in terms of his usage, didn't have a great feel for his slider by his own standards early on. 2 walks and a hit batsman in the rain in the first inning, and the elements were certainly a part of that. But to Shohei's credit, he stuck with that pitch until he found the feel for it, which arrived in the 4th inning. And Gordon lines a base hit the other way. It's the 2nd hit of the game for Minnesota.
Both hits going that way. 99-mile-an-hour four-seamer.
And now Gio Urshela, who has walked in both of his plate appearances tonight.
And he is one guy that you love to see him hit the ball on the ground because he will roll into a double play. Shohei with 8 of them turned behind him this season. That's a good cutter.
We talked about Ohtani's slider percentage to right-handed batters the last time Urshela was at the plate, and that was one of those at-bats where he just couldn't find it. Shohei throws his slider 46% of the time against right-handers. That's really high, and because it's so good. There's one. Did he get a swing? Checked it. Tonight he has used his slider versus right-handers even more than his league average, which is hard to believe. Almost 48%. So even though he didn't have a feel for it early, he stuck with it, and it has paid off for him.
He's thrown, what, 32, 33 sliders already tonight overall.
One. Well, he really wants that ground ball too. 2 balls and a strike.
See that slider at 39%, cutter 22. So that's similar planes on both those breaking balls. 4-seamer 20, curve at 11, sinker 6%, and not many splitters today.
Yeah, and that's to right and left combined.
Yep.
That's both sides of the plate tonight. Yep. 2 balls and a strike to count to Urshela.
That's that. Looked like that sinker.
Nasty.
Now that pitch, when he starts to, perfect that pitch, he's going to get a lot of quick outs with it too. Look how much this sinks. Starts there and then runs and sinks.
Well, it almost acts like a screwball.
Yep.
Right? But it's coming at 95. Two balls and two strikes, the count to Gio Urshela. Back to the slider and missing, full count.
Can't quite get him to go after that slider. That's a little bit too far off the plate. It's a big pitch now for Ohtani. That Cave on deck, who hit the ball pretty hard that first inning, ended up being a double play ball. So big pitch here for Ohtani.
Well, if he can become efficient enough here in the 6th inning to get through this part of the order, then he'd go back out there in the 7th for the bottom of the order, and he has dominated the 6, 7, 8, 9 batters tonight. So there is a path for him to get 7 complete innings tonight. And it all really hangs on this at-bat and perhaps this pitch, to your point. Full count, 3-2. And he walks Urshela for the 3rd time tonight. Can't get him to bite on those sliders, and credit Gio Urshela. And I think that's going to get the Angels bullpen stirring around on a cold night.
And that was a real tough one to take. As if he's reading the spin of his slider, because he went after that fastball, the sinker that was off the plate. So he was sitting and hoping, looking for fastballs in almost every single at bat here tonight. He was not going to go after breaking balls.
Ball and no strikes to Jay Cave, who has grounded into a double play rather, and struck out tonight.
Interesting with Nick Gordon at second base. Shohei looking back at Soto to see if there may be a pickoff be able to put on. Max Stats is going to walk out there to give the bullpen a chance to get loose.
It's Aaron Loup in the bullpen, and he'd be getting ready for what's after Gary Sanchez on deck. Back-to-back left-handed batters. You know, the stress innings, the stress pitches for Shohei started in the 1st when he had to maneuver his way out of that bases loaded 1-out jam. And it's a ball and a strike.
It's a hard cutter, 93-mile-an-hour cutter. That's usually the pitch where Shohei goes to get back into a count. He feels he could throw that one for a strike. Because it's a hard pitch, but it's a pitch he can control the strike zone with.
Only 2 singles allowed by Ohtani tonight. He has, however, walked 5. Oh, that one comes right back over the corner, Maddox style.
Yeah, you go cutter in and a little bit off the plate, then you go backdoor slider, where you're giving up on that as a hitter for sure. You think that's off the plate, you bring it around and catch the outside corner. You would think if he had any feel for a splitter, it would be a good pitch, but he hasn't thrown it, so it's hard to even think he would throw one now.
A ball and 2 strikes to Jay Cave. And believe it or not, Ohtani actually threw that video gamey slider to a left-handed hitter earlier and got a swing on it. I mean, that's how wicked the movement is. Yeah, he and Stassi communicating via PitchCom.
Big pitch here. You have options 2-2 if you're Ohtani. 3-2 is different.
bounce back up the middle and through. It's going to drive in Gordon. Back to a one-run game. Yeah, once it got past the mound, past Ohtani, there was nobody there in that spot in the infield.
Because it was interesting earlier in that at bat, the infield defense was set up in the shift with 2 strikes. It changed. That was right down the heart of the plate. Not many baseballs get by Shohei Ohtani.
Still nobody out. A run in first and second now for Gary Sanchez. And as much as Sanchez has looked like he's really struggled against Ohtani tonight, he is always dangerous. 14 homers, 53 driven in. The light rain has reappeared. Ohtani really having a hard time hearing the PitchCom device. Now he's even taken off his cap to create a little echo, a little tunnel. First pitch curveball misses. The numbers for Gary Sanchez in his first year as a Twin, very similar to the numbers in his last year as a Yankee. Sacrificing batting average for a guy that'll occasionally run into one. Dangerous pitch. It's a ball and a strike. Sanchez also a strikeout candidate.
He doesn't hit many baseballs on the ground, so you don't think in terms of a double play. He did hit a ground ball in the first inning. I mean, his first at bat. Not often does he hit the ball on the ground.
He struck out 121 times in 117 games last year, 122 times in the exact same number of games this year. One ball and one strike. Urshela and Cave aboard. You just get the sense that if Ohtani loses Sanchez here, we might be seeing Aaron Loup for the 2 left-handed hitters scheduled to bat next. This is a tough decision for Phil Nevin too, because you want to protect the decision for Ohtani to an extent. Exactly what he's talking about with Matt Wise. You also want your best opportunity to win the game, and maybe that's still with Ohtani.
Yeah.
I don't know what they'll land on. When he's just lost the feel for that slider as quickly as he had found it in the 4th and 5th innings, and it's 3-1 now.
Boy, for a guy that has a strikeout in his game, though, this is the time where he's the most dangerous, when he can sit. He's got to be sitting fastball here.
Stassi and Shohei are just having a really tough time on that PitchCom device. Home plate umpire Hunter Wendelstedt clapping his hands saying, let's go. And here we go on 3-1.
There Sanchez he is, takes that cutter.
He was begging there. That's a strike.
I mean, that got a lot of the strike zone.
Yeah.
Again, when he wants to get back into a count, he'll go to his cutter. That's the one pattern that we can almost feel that's an opportunity and a chance to say that he will throw that pitch.
Full count. 3-2 home. And he lost him on ball 4.
That's a strike. That's all over the strike zone. That's just a missed call. That's all over the strike zone. Shohei's not real happy about that one. You just flat out missed it. I mean, that's all over the strike zone.
And that's going to be all for Ohtani tonight. He will exit leading by a run. He has a question for Hunter Wendelstedt on his way out. And in the sportsman-like manner of his, he didn't like the call, but he knows that doesn't really matter at this point. Ohtani was terrific tonight. We'll see if the bullpen can hold for him. And let's see if Aaron Loup and the rest of the group in the bullpen can hold up a decision for Ohtani tonight.
Well, the infield playing in. Now they're moving back.
Aaron pitched yesterday in the finale in Arlington. Faced 2 batters through 10 pitches. And looking to dial up a ground ball or a strikeout here. That one's foul. 0-1 the count to Matt Wallner, who was 0-for-1 with a walk against Ohtani tonight.
Real interesting numbers for Ohtani. Through 100 pitches, only 53 strikes, 47 out of the zone, 24 batters faced, only 9 first pitch strikes. So the elements seem to play a part in this game today.
Yeah, I concur on that. Nothing in 1 the count to Matt Wallner. A flare that's foul. A jam shot dribbler foul up the right field way, and then that one into the opposite foul territory. And now Loop's on top 0-2.
What you've been looking for Aaron Loup all season long, to go back to what he was so good last year, is finish a batter off when he's got 2 strikes. He's got that finishing pitch, needs it now.
Another left-handed bat waiting next. The rookie center fielder Mark Contreras on deck. Bases loaded. A run in. Angels hanging on to a 1-run lead. And Loup looking for the Halos' first out of the inning. And he gets it on a called strike 3.
So you want that sinker after having him look away for a breaking ball, paints the inside corner. Ideally, you want to see Stassi just catch that and keep that pitch right there. He hit his spot. When you move it, sometimes it gives that illusion to the home plate umpire that he didn't hit his spot.
So base is still loaded with 1 gone now. Loup is a ground ball away from getting out of this, and the Angels retaining their 1-run lead. It's Gilberto Celestino that pinch hits here for Contreras. Celestino has played a lot this year. More appearances in the outfield than any other Twin this season. That one's yanked high, deep, and fouled into the sandstone. Gilberto Celestino actually ran afoul of Rocco Baldelli earlier this week and was benched for a time. In a moment, or a couple of moments, that the Twins since referred to as teaching moments. One almost hit him. 2 balls and a strike to count to Gilberto Celestino.
See if you get one of those pitches down and get a ground ball right at Livan Soto.
A run on 2 hits in the inning, a couple of walks. Celestino hits it on the ground to Rengifo, to Soto, back to Ford, the double play. Yeoman's duty from Aaron Loup. Inherits a bases loaded, nobody out situation. Strikeout, double play ball, and the Angels retain their lead.
And Aaron Loup, what a job done. And Shohei Ohtani is going to be getting a high five. There he is in the dugout.